Homeschooling has been legal for a long time. It was really made completely legal in all 50 states in the 80s. But here in the Pacific Northwest, I think that I've seen it really taking off in like skyrocketing in terms of popularity and what parents feel like they're able to do probably in the last 10 to 15 years. We've been homeschooling for over 20 years, almost all of that happening here in Washington State, and in the last 15 years in the Vancouver area. And I think as far as homeschooling goes, the Vancouver area, Clark County in particular, is really a paradise now for homeschoolers. Homeschooling is rising because the public schools are failing. I mean, really that's what it's coming down to. I think a lot of parents feel like their parental rights are being challenged and in many cases even stripped from them. Parents want to be in the driver's seat of their kids' education. If a student is being taught something in school, the parents want to know what that is. And a lot of parents are learning now what I learned 25 years ago when we pulled our own daughter out of public school. So I think my story is not unlike most families who I know begin homeschooling, who never really planned on homeschooling. I certainly didn't plan on homeschooling. We went to put our second daughter, who was 5 at the time, into the school, into kindergarten, and she missed the cutoff by about 4 days. And it was a really strict cutoff. Even though she really wanted to go to school and I felt like she was ready, she missed the cutoff. And so in order to kill time, I took her down to a homeschool supply store in Oregon City. And I'll never forget, there was a guy there named Eli. And I said, hey, I'm not here to homeschool. I'm not interested in homeschooling. It sounds horrible to me. I don't want to do it. But I'm trying to pass the time and my daughter's bored. Can you give me something that I could do with her? And he said, sure. And he gave me a book called Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. In about 2.5 weeks, I started to see her doing things that it was taking her sister weeks and months to do in the school system. I loved it. I loved the light bulb moment. I loved watching her get it. Her daddy would come home from work in the afternoon and I would say, JJ, you got to see what we learned today. And Savannah's teacher looked at me and she said, if I could do it over again, I would homeschool my own kids. She said, you're doing the right thing. You'll never be sorry. And that was the beginning of a great adventure. I think the demographics of the homeschool community is changing dramatically. 25 years ago, parents like me, we were really running to something. We saw a greater opportunity for time with our children. And the other thing I've noticed is that instead of running to something, parents today are really running from something. And we really want to say, hey, there's more for you. I think that what we're seeing really reflects a changing attitude about homeschooling because really the jury is in. Like we know now that homeschooling works. So when someone asks me, for example, aren't you worried about socialization? My answer is really simple. Absolutely, I'm worried about socialization. That is why I pulled my daughter out of public school, right? I want to choose who she's socializing with. I don't think that bullying needs to be a part of her education. When I see character flaws in my children, I have the ability to stop a math lesson and address a character flaw. What happens in the home, what is healthy in the home, translates to what is healthy in the culture and healthy in the workplace. And just here alone at Firmly Planted for the Homeschool Resource Center, we're the first of our kind anywhere in the nation. And so people are coming from all over because we're offering something that has yet to be offered in the area. So we're really excited. I think we're going to see parents find more and more courage and more confidence that they can be the primary educators of their kids, and it really is life-changing. I see that the future for homeschooling, I think it's going to expand. It used to be that people would say that the homeschooling was just something that religious people did. Certainly that's not the case anymore. Across the board, you're going to find people that homeschool of differing faiths and differing opinions. I think it's part of the homogenous nature now of homeschooling. It doesn't look like it did 20 and 30 years ago, and I think in the years to come, we're only going to see it increase.